Good evening, Dixie.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
I
Yes,
can.
there we are. That's good.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes.
Nice to see you.
Yep.
I'm just finding controls here, so 2 seconds. Right. Okie doke. I'll try again. Right then. Go. Evening, everybody. Sorry there was no agenda. I've had no laptop for a week, and it was just everything stored on my laptop that's in the shop getting fixed and might never arrive. So had to make do with emailed ones. Apologies for tonight. I've got Helen Lane, who is at another meeting. Do we have any other apologies? No. Good. Okie doke. Minute of the last meeting. Did everybody receive the minute?
Yeah.
Yep. Everybody happy that it's a true and accurate record? Yeah. Proposer and a seconder, please.
I'll propose it.
John Aitchison proposing. I'll second it. That was quick. There we go. Right. Moving on through. Right. It's a very short agenda because there's only a few things to talk about. One of the main things was the new primary school. I attended a meeting about the new primary school. Now I've got to watch what I say because some of the stuff's the information's getting put out by SBC. So I need to let them go through their procedure of getting it out in the public and not put my foot in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Guys, come here.
Jan, I'm going to mute
Sorry,
you.
yeah.
Feedbacking. So the meeting was about 3 options for the primary school. One was building a primary school behind the school and using part of the high school as part of the primary school. Another one was having a smaller primary school, and some of the older ones, the 6s and 7s, would be in the high school, and it would be the blended learning. And the other one, what was the other one? I can't remember. Anyway, the proposals that they put forward, they were actually really good, and everything that's been spoken about and asked for, they've actually listened to, and we've got a really positive feeling about one of the proposals in particular. But the main thing about this is it's splitting away the school from the green space and the housing development. So the school will be a separate project. So for now on, we're going to have to make sure that we split the green space stuff from the school. Robin Chapman, headmaster of the high school, was there, and he was very positive about the way forward for the school being so close to the high school and the shared learning that they can do, because they've done that for a number of years. So, Christine, you've got your hand up. Is that on purpose?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. First of all, James, sorry, could you, who's everybody on this meeting? Because
Oh, sorry.
I've no idea who's
All right.
who's here.
All right.
or
We'll do introduction. Right.
Thanks.
Morgan Gallagher's there. She's our governance woman. If I do anything wrong, she tells me off. Jan Weeks, she runs the community fridge. We've got Ed Chester, member of the public. Davina Collin. Davina walks the paths and makes sure they're maintained. We've got Lucy Anderson on the fire tablet. Secretary and treasurer. Kyle Goodman, he's a community council member, and Carol Hamilton's at the bottom.
Hi, Christine.
Hi. Yeah, I didn't know if there was any SBC councillors present.
Carol's not a rep tonight. Helen's.
Yeah, I heard you giving apologies for Helen, but I don't
And
know.
the ghost in the background is John Aitchison.
Hi.
Right.
And there's myself, Chris March, so I'm a member of the public, and Dixie Scott as well. Is there anybody else from the public here?
Ed
Apart
check.
from Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ed.
So
Right.
one of the the main things I wanted to say about the whole school project is we have to be very careful from now on, because it's been separated from the idea of a campus in the new plans going forward. So the battle for the green space and the housing development and the community centre potentially moving, that is all going to be separate. And Robin, the headmaster of the high school, thought that was a really good way forward. And the focus is on the education of the kids, and it's not about anything else. So it's what's best for the kids going forward in the future, which is what it should have been from the beginning. So we were really quite impressed.
Christine McQueen, head teacher from the primary school as well.
Oh, and Christine McQueen, the head teacher for the primary school, was there as well. So they were all really positive about the ideas. So Carol, do you want to say anything about it while you're here?
I don't think so, James. I think probably you've done pretty well there. I mean, as I said, well, as you said, there's a lot more to come, and I think it's really important that we keep like a clear focus, so that when the community engagement comes and the consultation comes, that's what we're aiming to look for later on. I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think there's a lot more still to come.
Okay, you got a question from Dixie?
Yeah, it's just to clear up, there are 3 options as I understand it, is that correct?
Yeah.
And the first option is still the option of using the development of the campus as it was. That's going to be one of the options still. The other 2 are options which are either splitting the years or everything being up at the high school. I think that's the 3 options, is that correct?
Yes, and it's kind of, and now we're looking at the proposed option.
Pardon?
Looking at the proposed option,
Yes.
or the kind of preferred, sorry, the preferred option. So, but
And
I think
that'll be a public consultation for that, Carol, is that correct?
Yeah. So that's all to come. So, and I think that's probably rather than we kind of like discussing what might be, what not might be, we kind of wait and see what the consultation brings forward. So, and that shouldn't be long. I mean, I keep asking, but that should not be long.
Yeah, in a December meeting with the SBC, they said it would be January and February that consultation would be completed.
Yeah, and I mean, I think with everything going on, there's just been, we've had staff off, and I think people trying to do, 2 jobs, but it's not far away. It's not far away.
Can I ask, have you any idea how that consultation, how it'll, the sort of, is it going to be a way of, how are they going to communicate that to everyone in Eyemouth? Is it going to be, what sort of format is it going to take, a consultation?
Well, I think for the moment they'll be online, but I think what we're looking for is maybe some space that we could put some boards up. So I know when we were talking about the Gala Shields Academy, we were looking at spaces in the town where boards could go up. So, because it's really important that everybody can access all the information. And so I think that's what we're doing at the moment, is trying to work out the best way, to make sure that everybody can see what the plans are.
Good.
Okay. So there'll be, there's lots more information to come. It's probably just taking a little longer than we'd all have wished.
Can we go to Christine, please?
What's crucial is communication with the public with any consultation, and what is more than frustrating is that trying to find any information, relevant information, whether it be Scottish Borders Council websites, whether it be Eyemouth Community Council website, is worse than frustrating, actually, because what should be very easy for any member of the public, and I am not technically literate at all, as anyone who knows me knows, but you know, we should be able to go on to whether it be SBC or ECC and actually easily find minutes, very much up to date minutes. There should be easy links to any consultation, and there should be, that information should just be easy to find. And there's nothing easy to find on either sites. I've just been on to Community Council one tonight, and I can't find agendas, I can't find up-to-date minutes, and I appreciate everybody's busy, but the vital part of any organisation is communication, and if that communication's not there, then there can't possibly be a proper consultation with all the public, and it's vital. And you know, I've been at this for many, many years with Scottish Borders Council, to the point of tearing my hair out, and it shouldn't be like that. So Carol, can I ask that Scottish Borders Council finally get their act together as far as technology is concerned and consultation, because this COVID has just exacerbated things, but it's also shown the massive gaps that are there, and there's no way that any consultation can happen without it being easy for people to find. And it's no good councillors knowing how to access things if Joe Public or Josephine Public like me cannot find it. So I would please ask that all websites are kept up to date and information is easy to access, because we all need to know. We need to know what the 3 options are for the primary school, but we also need to know whether there's a preferred one, and who has discussed that already. Now, absolutely, it should be the educators, the teachers. Absolutely, they're the key people. So yeah, I'll stop ranting at that point.
Yeah. I'll apologise for the last minute's not been on the website. I've not had a laptop.
But there's no up-to-date minutes. There's no minutes from
November's
I couldn't find it. I went in and I went into meetings just before I came on just now.
They're all at the bottom of one of the pages and they're dated on the links.
Right. Well, I tried to find it and I couldn't. Maybe I didn't scroll down enough, but presumably the most up-to-date ones should be the ones that are easiest to find.
They should be at the top.
Okay.
Morgan?
Christine, I understand entirely your point about what should be on the different websites. The difference is that Scottish Borders Council website has paid staff to set them up and run them, whereas the Community Council website is done by volunteers.
I truly understand that. Having been member of many committees before, I truly understand that.
Yeah, and I've been a member of quite a few different organisations, and the biggest gap in all volunteer organisations is website, because it's a very difficult area to get people to volunteer for, because if they've got the skills to volunteer for it, they're usually being paid to do it.
Yeah,
so,
I do understand that.
Most of us are as illiterate on doing that, but I do assure you that apart from the last one, the meetings are because we're very, very good about getting them up. I think the issue there is how we're linking it, and obviously I don't have any information to give about that, because I'm like you, I just point and click.
Maybe that's something that all community councils, not just Eyemouth, maybe all community councils and SBC could work together with, to find an easy format that everybody can use, and using the skills of those that are paid for it, and do it day in, day out. I quite agree with you.
Okay, thanks for that, Christine. Right, any other questions about the school? Nope. Right, well, we'll move on to the question, if the preferred option that we were talking about in that meeting, Carol, does go ahead, what happens to the green space? What's SBC's plans for a wide open green space left empty?
I have no idea, James. I have no idea about that.
Because if the primary does go over by the high school, the area behind the high school was marked on the town plan in 1995, I think it was, or 96, for housing development. So keeping the school and the housing close to each other, common sense would say you put it next to the existing area dedicated for the housing development. So would that be something that you would support, building houses behind the school where it was proposed a number of years ago, rather than on the green space?
I would have to check that with the local development plan and its sort of its remit. I mean, I suppose the only thing about housing is it's only if anybody wants to build the housing there. And,
Is there not plans for already for 90 houses to go on there anyway?
no, I think that's just the allowance, Jan. So that it just means that there can be housing, but I don't think there's, well, not that I know of, but I don't think there's anybody who says they actually want to build any houses there. It's just that it is in the local plan.
I thought Berwickshire Housing had bought a plot to put so many houses on.
They
I
have a
thought they'd
floating acre.
Pardon?
BHA have a floating acre on that site that SBC sold them. So an acre of that area, SBC is due BHA an acre of ground to build houses on.
Right.
So
I'm sure I've seen something that said that they're either thinking or they've already got planning for 90 houses.
no, that was updating the town plan, which would make that area available for housing, and I think a huge.
Because 90 houses, that's a big area.
But it's up to 90 houses. That's an initial assessment that the land could take comfortably up to 90 houses. And presumably with the acre that BHA have got, that acre can probably move. I mean, if they decide that the school is going to go up to the school, it would be more sensible to put the new housing up there. But there would probably be a negotiation where the acre might move about. I can't see, given how up in the air everything is, I can't see that there's anything definitively decided in any direction.
I'll go to Dixie, please.
The area of the old high school pitches has been, there's been a sign up there since about, I don't know, 2012 the school went up to Guns Green Hill. So that area has been up for development for that time, with an up to 90 houses that's been on that sign. So it's always been there since the last development plan, which was 2016. And the new development plan, they've just continued, and that's what they informed the residents, that they're continuing to designate that area as redevelopment. What our argument was, you know, let's get that redesignated as a green space, because Eyemouth is not well served for green space. And I think there's more reason to fight that if there's not, as you say, James, if there's not going to be a school there in the campus. I mean, we were annoyed at the campus taking up the whole of the middle of that area, if it could be a public park. And then now we've got the opportunity to have a fantastic destination park, if that's what it was decided to be. So all these things going forward are I would think, something worthy of a strong community fight to try and have that whole area redesignated as green space. If that's what happens with the consultation, that the preferred option for the high school, if the primary school, is to be up beside the primary school, I would suggest that that's when we take up that with SBC and try and stop the idea, because it's not been sold in all that time. No one's wanted to develop there for all that time. Why is somebody going to suddenly want to developed there. It's going to end up just sitting up there being a wasted space, you know.
If they decide to put the school at the high school, all the other plans for the community centre and the old folks' homes and all the rest of it, what will happen to that? Carol, have you got any idea with that?
No, I haven't, Jan. I mean, I would, that was sort of like a plan altogether. And I think that was like a plan, you know, it all kind of fitted together as a kind of, you know, as things sort of coming together to make campus. And I'm not quite sure that if there's an appetite for any of that anymore at the moment, Jan. But I mean, I'm happy to go back and you know, and ask the estates you know, department about that, but I've not been party to anything.
It would be nice to know what the alternatives were if they did do the school at the high school, and so that they've all got a clear option of what could, one, happen to that big area of land, and two, if you've got any plans to do any of the other stuff elsewhere in the town.
But I think that splitting off the school discussion automatically, in a sense, cuts out all the other discussions, because until the school option is chosen, it's pointless putting in lots of ideas or structures of what we could do on 3 different options. You see what I mean? But once the school's decided, that would be when it would be sensible to put together different options for the green space, bearing in mind that just about everybody wants the destination play park.
Go to Christine. Christine?
Oh, sorry. Absolutely, the primary school is the priority, and nothing can be done anywhere without a decision on the primary school. But presumably, Carol might be wrong here, surely the council have taken into account not only the primary school, but everything that was supposedly going to go onto the campus site, and probably tens, if not maybe even £100,000 has been wasted in the so-called planning up to now of the community campus, with all the fancy models and all the rest of it, where there hadn't been proper consultation. And if only they bothered having proper consultation, we could have all saved an awful lot of time and money by making sure that the community's needs, not just wants, but needs are being met. If the community centre and that is still going to be, if the primary move off that site, is the plans to still do the community centre, old folks housing, etc., has been mentioned. But surely to goodness, Scottish Borders Council have some idea about that already, because nobody can consult with anything without knowing what is being thought about or what is being discussed up at SBC, because the last thing any of us need is SBC coming back yet again and just telling the people of Eyemouth or any other community what is going to happen. We live here, we know, I'm not looking at any development from my personal point of view. I'm thinking about generations that are going to come after me, and we've got a unique opportunity, whether the primary school stays in the Coldenham Road site or not. You could still have the primary school, but build it on the existing brown land, rather than encroaching on all this vital green space. And with COVID and all the rest of it, it's even more important, all the health benefits of having a decent outdoor space. James, I sent you a copy of my email that I sent to SBC. Carol, you got a copy directly, although I've not had any reply from yourself, which is really disappointing. But in that, I've answered about the green space, not about the primary, because obviously that's very much should be educational driven decision. But the green space as it is in the local development plan is for Eyemouth is ridiculous. There's not a single
Where
usable
did she go?
space there.
Should everybody freeze her ass?
Sorry?
What?
Sorry, James, was that you coming in?
I don't know. Is it
Hello?
going?
I think he said it was frozen, but
There we
I
go.
don't. Oh, right.
Ah,
he was
Sorry, the whole thing just.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, right, okay. I thought you were talking about green space being frozen. Yeah, on the local development plan, and I've spelt it out the way that I see it, that there's actually not a single area that is usable for community space, and the vast majority are not usable for young families, are not usable for babies in prams, are not usable for wheelchair users, anything like that at all. We have this land, the community has this land bang in the middle of the town, which could be fantastic. But Carol, I think the main thing is that Scottish Borders Council, they have to know what they're thinking about. They have to relate that to all of us as a community so that we can properly get this, because we only have one shot. We don't, if they start building houses in the middle of the playing fields, well, that's it gone forever. And it's not that housing is not important. Of course it's important. But there are things that are much, much more valuable from a community point of view than some houses. And I'll put it on record, I would quite like to build a house for myself on that site, but not at the expense of a community needs. Does that make sense?
Yes. Carol, anything you want to say to that?
All I hope, Christine, is that you take part in the consultation, because you've got lots to say. So I think it's really, really important. And I think it'd be great to encourage everybody to get part in, and have their say in the consultation. So and that, Carol, is why it is absolutely vital that whatever consultation, it is easy to access by everybody. You're talking about the community getting involved. Literally on the eve of COVID lockdown, last March, we did a petition and we got over 1,000 signatures from a population of only 3 and a bit thousand. That's 1/3 of the population. And it's not going ahead because of the COVID restrictions and that. We can't keep blaming flipping COVID. We could be in a lockdown state or never having a face-to-face open meeting for a long time yet. There may be no public meetings for a long time. So we need to be creative and we need to find a way. And I've been fighting this since before the high school moved. And I'm so frustrated, I can't tell you. It's, but of course I'll be involved.
Right, thank you very much.
James?
Yeah, Davina?
I don't know if this is any consequence or not, but I spoke to somebody that lives in the private houses up at Guns Green Park about a couple of weeks ago, and she told me she'd had a letter from the council saying, or somebody, that they were going to be starting to build houses behind her in the field behind the high school. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
That's on the local development plan, Davina.
I think it was not private. I think she said she thought it was affordable, not private.
Right.
Not heard a single thing about that.
No, she told me that about two, 3 weeks ago. I met her.
Would it be possible to see that letter, Davina? If you could get that letter, you could see what they were actually saying.
Well, it was sent to her as a house owner at Guns Green.
So it sounds to me they're just telling them something about the local development plan, so it'd be interesting to see exactly what they said.
I'll maybe message her on, I could private message her and ask her if she's still got the letter.
We could scan that in and hand it to anybody interested if she's willing.
Because I said to her, is it private? And I'm sure, I don't swear, but I'm sure she said no, it wasn't. But I'd have to, I can't swear on. It was a couple of weeks ago and it was just in a sort of passing conversation. I could double check that. So.
Okay, right. So I think we've covered everything. We're still behind the green space keeping it a green space, and we'll have to very much separate the school from anything else. We did get the impression from everybody in that meeting that everything else to do with the campus for two of the ideas, they hadn't, I didn't feel they'd thought about what they were going to do with the rest of it. They were just focusing on the one thing. And given that none of them are in the same office or anything, and it's all on Zoom, I did get the impression they were just focusing on that one thing, and it was a positive. So yeah, I think that the consultation, when it comes out, I think that should be good, and everybody will see how positive it can actually be. So hopefully we just get the consultation right this time. Okay, so Christine, is your hand still up, or?
Yeah, no, I've put up again, sorry. I do have a lot to say, sorry. Carol, can you find out and make sure that everybody knows if there's consultations happening at the moment, and if so, what's the time scale, and also what is the process for it?
Yeah, I mean,
whether that. Sorry.
It'll be widely, you know, publicised, and I will.
But it's not been up to now. It's not been.
Well, the
consultations have not been.
Isn't out
consultations
yet.
have not been. You know, just looking back to a year ago, you know, and even very lately, and Dixie, you can confirm this, that not every resident whose property literally backs onto the high school site or the primary school site didn't even get a letter. So it's been woeful up until now. So whatever the process is meant to be, it needs to be very clear. And
I think it needs scrutiny, Carol, because, you know, Christine's right about the letters weren't sent to all the residents, and we only heard about it because someone mentioned it. So that was the opportunity to make a comment on the local development plan. Well, everyone should have. My gate opens into the same field that they're talking about building houses. So, you know, not to have had a letter, and I've still not had one. So to say that, yes, it'll be widely, you know, consulted everywhere in Eyemouth. How do you have any faith in that, Carol? That's the point. So it needs, you know, we need some scrutiny on that.
Right. I mean, I'll check. I don't understand why some people got letters and other people didn't get letters. I don't understand that.
Nobody.
Well, neither do we.
I might just find, it might be those people that lived within a certain distance, or, you know, I'm not quite sure, but I can happily go and ask.
Well, the community council wouldn't have known about it unless we got a letter from one of the residents who showed us. We wouldn't have been told, and we should be told about it. But the communication isn't that great. It's a bit dire. We just don't get the information through, so we can't share it with people if we don't get it.
Just so that I don't know if anybody knows, but it's a lot of there's a lot of work and time involved in changing a local plan. I don't know if any. I think the officers are, you know, obviously they've had all your letters, and so when I went back to the officer to say, right, how does this work? It's a very complicated piece of work, because the local plan has already gone to the Scottish Government, you know, the last one, and so what I'll find out is the process of what happens now that people have, you know, written letters of objection about the local plan, and because it is quite complicated and a lot of work.
And I understand it's complicated and a lot of work, but it shouldn't be insurmountable, and also it shouldn't be used as an excuse not to act and change.
I don't think
changes
so.
needed.
I don't think so, Christine, but it has to go back to the Scottish Government. So, you know, it's not something that's going to take, you know, it's not something that the council decides upon. I think it has to all go back. But as I said, I will find out what the process of that is, and and come back to you about that. Okay.
And also on the high school site, I think it's down on the plan, Dixie, you can maybe confirm this, I think it's down as mixed development. Therefore, potentially it could be for any type of development. The Berwickshire Housing Association, many years ago when the high school first moved, they were sold a tenth of the land, never went out to tender. Scottish Borders kept saying they were getting best value for money. What a load of rot. But that is floating land. There was no fixed area. And a couple of the replies that I did get to my email say that Berwickshire Housing Association have that land, and therefore they're sort of tied into it. I don't know if it was Morgan, somebody mentioned earlier on that equivalent land could potentially be offered to Berwickshire Housing Association in another area of the town. It does, another outskirts of the town. It doesn't need to be on that site. And it certainly doesn't need to be plonked in the middle. I know that's a conversation for a later date, but I think just being aware that land was a floating piece of land. It was not fixed on any plan at that time when it was initially sold. Whether it's been fixed since then, again, there's no transparency and there's no, people don't know, basically. So these are all the questions that need answered.
We'll just go to Ed now. Ed, you had your hand up.
I did, but I realised I was probably going to say something that might not have been true, so I'm going to keep quiet.
Very wise, very, very wise. We don't want to go viral on the internet.
No, we're not doing that, Morgan, as much as you'd like.
We're not being Handforth Parish Council.
Okie doke. So I think we've gotten the point across again about the green space, and we'll be keeping our eyes open for any further consultation on that. And I would hope that SBC get in touch with us to let us know when things are happening, and we don't have to find out from the neighbours on Victoria Road when things are happening. Okie doke. Is that touchy topic done? We've done well. Okay, thank you very much, Christine, Dixie, for taking part in that. I know that's what you're here for.
Thank you.
So if you don't want to sit for the rest of the meeting, that's absolutely fine.
Right, okay, yeah, I'll head off. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.
Bye.
Thank you, Christine.
Okay.
For being here.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to get out. Hang on. Right, I'm leaving.
James, I'm staying because I'm not just a one-trick pony like Christine,
I'll not tell her you said that.
I will.
Okie dokie. Right. Next on the agenda is the continuation Eyemouth Community Council. Right, we have a quandary. And I've spoken to you about it. I asked SBC for advice. We were supposed to stand down at the end of March, going on April. If we stand down, there can't be another council elected because it can't follow the guidelines for electing a new community council. There's no way for it to be done, and there's no guidance from the Scottish Government or SBC on how to move forward. So without putting the community council into abeyance, we have to stay on for another year until 22. Now, to do this, we have to take a vote and agree on it. And I know some people don't want to do another year, and that's absolutely fine. We have people who have voiced that they want to join the community council, and I think it's fair that everybody, still gets a chance. So we'll try and do that online, because if we stay, the community council is still valid. So I'll just propose staying on for an extra year until 2022. And if everybody, Carol, are you saying yes, or are you?
James, we heard today that August, September, you can start doing elections, I think. Just to let you know, we heard that today,
Okay.
if that helps you at all.
It's really tight with the way the constitutions and stuff's worded.
Yeah, yeah.
We just can't do it. We'll just have to see how restrictions go. Morgan?
Do the regulations say how small or how big the community council has to be to carry on?
We have to do a minimum of 6 and a maximum of 12 for our community council.
Right.
And one of the main problems we've got as well is making sure we're inclusive. And because we can't get Billy to a computer because he's allergic to the internet and phones, we can't have Billy removed from the community council because that's not us being inclusive. We have to keep him on the community council. So I'm going back and forward because I know as soon as we're allowed to meet again, he's going to be there with bells on. So we have to make sure that we're following the guidelines to keep everybody included and give everybody the opportunity. And it's kind of walking on a tightrope at the minute. So that's why Billy's still on the council, and Jim as well. I've not seen as much Jim because Jim's he was shielding and he was very much more afraid of anybody being near him. But as you know, Billy doesn't care and will walk up to you in the street. So if I can just propose a continuation until 22 or until restrictions ease enough that we can actually stand down and new people be elected. All in favour of another year?
Aye.
That's John's hand, it's not a ghost. Right, I've got an aye for Billy. Kyle, are you an aye?
We don't really have any choice, do we?
No,
You acted like there's
really
a choice.
We don't have a choice because without us doing this, it would have to go into abeyance. And that insurances for all the things that we cover would be gone out the window. And it's spinning too many plates. Right, okay, that's agreed. And Billy voted yes as well. So there we go. We'll still go ahead with, we can't have an AGM, but we can have an online meeting where we can bring people on board at the end of next month. So the new members that want to come on can be voted on. I'll put something in the paper and ask who wants to come on. I'll have to work out how many spaces we've got. I think we'll have 2 or 3, not very sure.
I was going to ask how many members we've got at the minute and how many spaces we've got, but you've just said that.
Aye. I'll have to, we'll have to go and ask Jim if he's going to stay on once the meetings return or what it is.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can.
Because I'm governance, I'd assumed that I would have to stay on in terms of paperwork, insurance and things like that. It's a bit of a shock to discover that we're all trapped here.
It's our good nature getting stretched a little too far. Okay, we'll go on to subgroup reports. This is where we've got good news for stuff. Right, Community Woodland Project. The Community Woodland is all signed over and up and running, and things are starting to happen. I have one form left that I need to fill in, and that's all my paperwork for that done. That's not been easy. So we're going to be looking at getting the woodlands thinned out. Some of it's already started. We've got other people coming in. So if you know anybody that wants free firewood, tell them to get in touch with me. There's plenty there. And I have to say thank you to the Forest Direct and the Woodland Trust, because their reps have been brilliant and they've done a lot of the work. And Trisha from SBC has actually been really good. She replaced Annabelle Scott and somebody else. So she was a really good replacement for the projects we had going. We're also doing the Berwickshire Area Partnership Review. Those of you who's been to an area partnership meeting will know what the overall public feeling of them is, which is it's not that good. Everybody feels like they're being talked at instead of taking part in something. So because of the work we've been doing with Colin and the SBCCN, you all met Colin, the conductor. Remember Colin? Yep. He's been pushing for SBC to enact the 2015 Community Empowerment Act. I won't go into the boring legal speak. We'll leave that for another meeting. But the point is the makeup of the area partnership meetings is going to be changing, and it's going to be changing because we're taking part in creating how the format will be. It's also the community fund is going to be changing, and that's going to be directly because of the work we've been doing. And I've been in the meetings to say how that will move forward. So it won't be SBC elected making the decisions about who gets funding anymore. It'll be a community vote, and anybody will be able to go on the panel to vote for what projects get the money. So there's a lot of big shifts coming as regard SBC communicating with the public, and it should be, if all goes according to plan, actually quite positive and put the community in the driving seat of projects instead of you wake up one morning and they're going to build 90 houses in the field behind your house. So it's making sure everybody has a chance to be involved in things from the beginning. So if anybody wants to go on any boards or anything, if you've got a spare hour of your life that you'll never get back, let me know if you're into that kind of thing, if you're interested. There's a lot of different things happening just now that people can be involved in, and it's all on Zoom. So I would encourage anybody that's interested in taking part in what's coming to sort of step up and say, right, give us a shot. Right, subgroups, Davina, paths, and how?
Sorry, the paths. Yeah, yeah. Well, with the weather and what kind of, the last few months, they're not great. Sorry, they're been pretty damaged. The Loaning, I think, has a serious issue with water and drainage. Your stones, literally the channel, it's run a river down the channel, and the stones that you put down have all been washed away, and it's just mud. I don't know what it'll be like, it's maybe had a chance to dry out, but it's going to take a wee bit of sorting out. Pretty unwalkable unless you've got big boots on, and slippy, not good underfoot. There's been bikes going down as well, with quite a lot of bikes, kids on bikes, which that's fine, but the ground's been so soft and boggy that they've left quite and that's before the snow came. But there's definitely an issue. There's like a spring seems to be running from the top, and it's been very, very flooded. I've never seen it as bad as that in all the time I've walked. I've seen it flooded, but not for as long, and the channel with the water that's run down has actually made a channel down the middle, so you can hardly walk down unless you walk down the channel 1 foot in front of the other, or sort of hop from side to side.
We've got, I don't know if we've got the money in yet. We're getting the 450 paths grant from SBC. That's been confirmed. Did we get that in yet, Lucy? I don't think we did.
No.
The paths total, once that 450 comes in, will be £551.30. So we could maybe look at putting gravel down there again.
You'd have to go up and see. I don't know whether it would need levelled again. Do you know what it would need? Because the channel's so been embedded. It's like a riverbed. It's been running.
Well, I'll get in touch with Terry.
I sent you the video. You could see how bad that was.
I'll get in touch with Terry because we've contracted him for the whole year to maintain the path. So we've got the money there.
I don't know what you can do at the minute. It's pretty, it's not the best. And any equipment would probably get pretty stuck, I would think, unless it's dry. I haven't been up because it was that bad. I was up last week and it was awful.
I'll ask him to have a look. Morgan?
If we've already put gravel down and it's been washed away, we may have to look at putting that plastic matting down that embeds in, which will be much more expensive, I would imagine, than gravel, but it stays.
I
It's
think
sitting, Morgan, it's
hardcore.
the water's finding its level, so it's running for the most of the top part of the loan, and then it's running right down past almost, you know, to the last third house down up for where William is, James. I mean, I've never seen it as bad as that in all the years I've walked there. So I think there's serious issues with something going on.
Well, there could be a burst pipe or anything under the ground. You just
Exactly. Yes,
right.
exactly.
I'll have a look and I'll get Terry to have a look. And if needs be, we'll just have to spend some money.
I mean, it's been an exceptionally wet spell, you know. I mean, we have had it really bad, so it might dry out, but it's just the damage it's done with it, with the amount of water that's been running down. The path's not a path as such as it was before.
You think how many people's actually using the paths now that didn't before?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of focus, yeah, I think, yeah.
Putting it to the test, isn't it?
And the woodland walk at the top as you go up, that's been badly flooded off the fields. And that's very soft, and where you put the gravel down again, it's gone. It's not. It's again. It's just the weather, the severity of the weather we've had.
It's just a bit of regular maintenance needed, I would say.
It's been flooded all the way along on the flat this time, and as you go round the corner, that was flooded behind the sewerage works. That was flooded.
Right. Okay.
I've never seen that flooded either. It's just been terrible.
Davina, when the next time you're taking a walk for that, you could always just snap some video of it so that
I sent it to James, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't have a laptop to transfer it across. I was going to put it on here, but I've not had time to transfer it to the new laptop.
You know, one of the ones I sent you with the wide one with all the mud that obviously had been made worse with what had gone through. Somebody I met actually after I sent you those messages had been behind me, and they'd say, you know, they'd commented how bad it was, and he suggested at that top bit a bit of duckboard.
I'll have to ask Terry, so I'm not sure.
You know, duckboard. I think they've had to do that on the coastal path as well.
Is any of the land, sorry, Davina, is any of that land, James, basically thinking for the horticultural part of the school if the primary school does go up there? Is any of that land for that? No.
There's something else in the pipeline, but I can't say until SBC have the proper consultation.
Because what I was thinking is if they were going to put that there, and it's getting flooded, it wouldn't be much use, would it? So that's what I was thinking.
That wasn't on the thing. But we'll catch up with that in private. Right. Okay. Shop front. The shop front. God, who would have thought a project could drag on so long? Right. The shop fronts are getting done. Hooray. David Dougal's old building, or cross gutters as it was, that's now painted. We're paying the workmen in stages just to make it easier for the people who own the shops, because nobody's on any money now. So Zahid's going to be seeing about getting his done this week. It's just trying to encourage everybody to keep going at the minute, because it's very difficult to get a tradesman to do it. But the shop front is still plodding on. It's just unfortunate that 2020 happened.
Just back up for auction again.
I think it's been on and off that auction site for the last 2 years.
Said something. The minute I clicked on it, they had to have it back up for auction. I don't think it's sold though.
It was 200,000. Yeah. Recently.
Zahid?
No, the cost cutters.
Cost cutters.
Right. I thought that's what Lucy was mentioning.
Well, the cost cutters one that's gone through the Indian restaurant, because the Indian restaurant is staying. They're not going anywhere, so that's how they qualified to get that done. Right, what's next? I'm behind with a completion report for the work we're doing in the horticulture department. So my bad. I forgot all about it, and then I didn't have a laptop, and it's just been a bit of a disaster. So I need to do that completion report for the funding we got from, I think it was Drone Hill, was it, Lucy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Drone Hill. So yeah, I need to do that, but I've had so many problems with technical stuff, it's just been impossible. Enhancement group, hang on, the ghost.
Ian and I, we've had a vaccine, so by Easter time, we should be well and truly vaccinated. So we hopefully, weather permitting, we'll be out and about, tidying up round the town.
That was the enhancement group report. Right, I've also completed the insurance cover for 21-22. I didn't take anybody off just in case the groups want to start back up again. So we are still covering the enhancement group, adopt an area, something Scottish, community woodland, community fridge, and the path subgroup. So if Davina falls when she's walking around, she's insured.
I'll probably get sucked under with the bog.
Insured for that, it's all right.
Finally, quicksand is going to be a problem. We all grew up with all these quicksands being done, and
Quick,
finally
grab
it's here.
Okay, so what else do we have? We have the treasurer's report that we've got yet. Lucy, do you want to do your quick report? It was emailed out, but again, problems with modern technology. So Lucy's done the best she can.
What's that? Sorry. Hold on. Right, the opening balance was £27,028.24. Expenditures, paths 1,050, shop fronts 1,456, BMX track £65.05, COVID relief work £1,239.59. Total expenditure was £38,810.64. Income COVID shopping £249.85. Total income was £249.85. Ring fenced amounts: Ace £1,326.58. Town signage £1,417.94. Memorial walk £101.30. Shopfront grant £15,452.85. BMX track £1,405.17. Drone Hill funding £1,369.31. SBC floral grant £149.50. Community fridge £14.52. COVID £662.40. Donations £566.67. Available at the Community Council £754.36. Closing balance £23,467.45.
Well done, Hen. You got there. Right, so what the? I'm not sure about the COVID relief work for the £1,239.59. I think we'll have to have a look at that. What time period's that for?
That's there's a lot of mileage in that.
Oh, I wonder if that's because the 3 months before that was paid late in November.
It was quite a big
And
one.
that's going to be that would be 6 months mileage. That's why that's so high. Right, okay. I was worried there for a second. Right. The community fridge stuck in the community centre. I think what we're going to have to do is go to the co-op and see if we can set up the community fridge in the co-op like they've done in other towns like Duns, and it's done over in Castle Douglas and stuff. It's no point, we're running about all over the place, and I think we're all very tired of it now. So we're going to go down to the co-op and see if we can set up with them and get things moved. It might mean paying somebody to move it, because it'll take a removals company to take it out, but I think that's going to be the best way forward.
Will Scottish Borders Council let us have our fridge?
I can get in the building, it's fine. We can get in for removals of things like that. That can be arranged. We just can't get regular use or opening hours. So that's what we're going to have to do. We've been working with Weston and Nook and Crow on adding to procedures, because we it was ad hoc, chuck everything together and hope for the best and make sure we were keeping up with all the food standard stuff. We've been doing it too long now, so we've had to continually put in procedures to tighten up taking the food to places and all the stuff we have to do. Freezing of the meat, for instance, Weston's now put in a procedure where they label when it's frozen, so the dates all match up, so everything can be traced back. It's all little things to make sure that when Gwen Robertson, Environmental Health, has a look, we've got a paper trail of everything, and she can pick up a frozen bit of chicken from the freezer and see the label, and it's all there in the right place, and it's been done properly. So we're having to keep on track with that, but I think the best thing to do is just to move it and carry on, hopefully from the co-op. Right. Is there anybody got any other business? No? Tumbleweed.
There's a global pandemic, James.
Ed's got something. Is it the truth, Ed?
Well, I thought your agenda showed something about the community centre, the existing community centre.
No,
Maybe
sorry.
I'm wrong. I haven't got it in front of me. And maybe I misunderstood what was on it. Therefore, it is not true. Who knows?
No, I was hoping we would get an idea when talking about the primary school of what SBC's plans are with the campus and stuff, but obviously there's still absolutely nothing.
Or else Carol's been primed to keep very quiet.
Oh, she's unmuted. She's coming for you.
You should know that I only speak when I've got something to say.
I appreciate that, Carol.
Yeah, I say no, I don't know anything.
All right, so I hope everybody's well.
Before we go then, can I just say, as normal, to recognise how much commitment you're all giving and how hard you're all working. And I know particularly at this time, it's a real grind, but just remember what you're doing is really, really, really good. So feel good about it.
Yes, and as I said to Morgan today, when we're allowed a meeting, we're going to have it at the clubhouse, and we're having a lock-in once the meeting's finished. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. So members of the public left, Dixie and Andrew, is it? So if you fancy coming on board at the end next month, Andrew, you could come back. You know, you were quite capable.
I'm far too busy with my work stuff, man. It's just I wouldn't have the time. I enjoy sitting in the meetings, but I've not got time. I really didn't.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, Andrew's there.
I know I didn't see him before.
Oh, you can see.
He's very quiet.
Dixie, you know, fancy it?
Yeah, I'm quite supportive of everything that's going on, but I'm involved in too much, to be honest, to be committed.
Fingers in too many pies,
yeah.
Dixie.
But I'm still here to help and support without a doubt. And I've got a few fights to fight yet, so but as I say, I think after the schools decided, we'll take forward what we're really wanting to do about the future of Eyemouth, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, doke. To take the pressure off of Lucy, does anybody have a think next month at the end? I think Lucy could do only being the treasurer and not the secretary as well. So if anybody would like to just put a sort of half an hour a week we'd really do the emails. Not looking at anybody, Kyle, but if you're bored. So yeah, have a think, and if you fancy
Yeah.
that kind of thing, Kyle.
Let me talk to my wife because I'm like you. I'm without a computer right now, so but that shouldn't be a problem. So I'll talk to her and get back with you.
Okay, that's grand. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for tonight, and I'll see you all next month.
Oh,
Thank you.
Take
too.
care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Bye.
I need to end.
Bye. Thanks, James.
Oh, thanks, Carol.
Thank you too, James.
We want to stop playing.